I want you to finish the sentence for me. Where our focus goes, energy, what? Flows. Our focus is so important. What we focus on becomes reality. What we focus on, we believe, and that becomes our thoughts, and then that becomes our actions. But how do you focus in a world where there's so many distractions? So I just wanted to break it up into 3 questions for you. And I want you to take a notice in your own life, where are you focusing? So the first question, and you can write these down actually, if you have a pen and a piece of paper. You can pause the video and come straight back. The first question is, are you focusing on what's missing or what you have? See, often as overachievers, as perfectionists, as constant goal setters, but also, even if you're not an overachiever, often we focus on what's missing. We focus on the negatives, we focus on what's wrong. How often do you stop and just feel so grateful that you have a body, that you're alive? I mean, it sounds so corny, but when you can start to focus on what you have versus what's missing, then the quality of your daily life will improve dramatically. The second question I want you to write down is, are you focusing on what you can control, or are you focusing on what you can't control? And this is where we get into some problems. Because often when you're stressed, when you're angry, when you're in that negative state, you're focusing on everything that you can't control. You're focusing on other people. For me, when I'm having a bad game in sports, in hockey, I'm focusing on the umpires, don't we all? I'm focusing on the teammates, you know, why aren't they doing this? I'm focusing on things like, gosh, it's so hot. Can you control the weather? No. So if you can switch that into focus on the things that you can control, then you take so much power back and you just take little micro steps towards making that phone call or doing the things that you actually can control. It switches your whole mindset, it switches your focus. And the third and final question I wanted to ask you is, are you focusing on the past? Are you focusing on the future? Or are you focusing on the present? See, when we have thoughts about the past and the future, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's human nature. We're all going to be reflecting and reminiscing on the past, and we're all going to be having thoughts and dreams about the future. But what happens when we never get into the present is we're either dwelling on mistakes all the time or things, you know, that have happened in the past, or we're making up this dramatically, over-dramatic future where we're predicting things that are happening, and often the future is where anxiety sits and the past is where depression sits. If we focus too much in those areas, then it's not so healthy for us. And it's not bad, again, as I said, to have those thoughts. It's just really checking in with yourself, is how many times can you, and get this, use your breath to come back from the past, to come back from the future, and focus on the present moment. Because just a quick tip for you, if you're an athlete, that's where getting in the zone and getting in flow state comes from. We're able to get out of the past, get out of the future, and come straight back into the present moment because you don't have any room for any other thoughts. And so those 3 questions, if you check in with yourself, my challenge to you over the next couple of days is to wear a hair tie or a rubber band or something on your wrist. And every time you notice that you're focusing on either what's missing, what you can't control, or if you're in the past or the future too much, then what you do, don't flick your wrist. A lot of people say that when I give you this exercise. It's not a punishment thing, it's just an awareness thing. Every time you catch yourself, switch wrists. Okay, so it's just getting you into the habit of catching them. And firstly, you might think, oh, that's a bad thing that I've switched wrist. It's a good thing because you're noticing it. Now it's becoming conscious, now you're becoming aware of it. Instead of, you know, just going out your days unconsciously, just thinking all these thoughts and getting so wrapped up. Switch the hair tie or the rubber band or whatever, and then at the end of the day, count how many times that you caught yourself. Now to start with, you might have been switching it 40, 50 times. When I first started this like 6 years ago, I truly was switching it so much. And then you start to catch yourself before you have the thought or before you're focusing on the wrong things. And all of a sudden, you might be switching it less and less. So give it a go the next couple of days, and I'd love to hear from you. Message me how you got on, because this is such a powerful exercise for what you can focus on.